Okay, captains for this week, I'm going to do something a little bit different. Matter of fact, Jack is kind of the guy that suggested this to me, so I'll give him credit for a couple of these deals. But Ryan Yurchek and Devontae Allen on offense, those are some repeat guys that have done a tremendous job all year for us. Evan McKelvey is another repeat guy. Of course, Corey Tyndall on defense. And then we have two guys that I'm going to name in addition to those guys as kind of special team captains. And these two guys have started every game for the last 4 years. The punter, Tyler Williams, and Matt Sincata is the kind of long snapper that nobody's heard about, which is a good thing because he's done a great job all for 4 straight years. So those two guys will be captains and have 6 of them this week. This is obviously it's a big game. Number one, because it's being played on the day of the crash on the 14th. That's number one reason it's a big game. Our kids understand that. Our players understand the history of what Marshall football is all about, and they take that very seriously. So they understand the importance of this game not only to our football team, but our fan base, our community, and our school, and what it means to everybody. It's also a big game because all our goals and dreams are still out there. I mean, go take care of business this week, and find a way to win this game, which will be an extremely tough game for us because FIU has done a great job. Brown's done a tremendous job with that team. They're playing for bowl eligibility, so we know we're going to get their best shot like we do everybody else's. But it's a big game because of that. But it's also a big game for us because of 18 seniors. They're playing their last game here at our stadium. Those 18 seniors, I'm going to take a minute and read them off because I think it's that important. Ricardo Williams, Devontae Allen, Evan McKelvey, Keith Baxter, Remy Watson, Tom Collins, Jarquez Samuel, Taj Letman, Swede, Clinton Van Horn, DJ Hunter, DeAndre Reeves, Joe Woodrum, Armand Daniel, Steve Dillon, Devin Johnson, Matt Sincata, and Tyler Williams are 18 guys that changed the culture of this program. We're a big part of all that. And won a bunch of games around here, and just going to miss those guys. But it's the last time they're going to play in that stadium, so it's important that we send those guys out the right way. And I think it's great for us as a fan, but we need to show up and fill this place up, and not only because of those 18 seniors, but number one because it is being played on the day of the crash on the 14th, and we got an excellent football team coming in here. So there's a lot of reasons to have a great crowd. There's a lot of reasons to go play our tail off, and I know Saturday's going to be a great day. So. With that being said, I mentioned before that Ron's done a great job with that FIU team. It starts with their quarterback on offense. He's done a great job. And Juju Smith, that tight end, is as good as any tight end in the country. They're playing good defense. They're ranked in top of our conference and had the opportunity to go on the road and beat Indiana. They beat Central Florida to open up the year. So, like I say, they're playing for bowl eligibility, and he's got them playing really well. So it's going to be important that we have a great week like always and get ready to go play a good football team. So that's where we are.
Emotions, can be a good and bad thing at times. And when you've got so many different things that are going to evoke emotion this week, the 18 seniors coming out for the last time, the anniversary of the plane crash, how as a coach do you balance that with you want enough emotion not to come out flat, but not too much that they overrun plays and stuff like that?
Well, I think that all takes care of itself. I think they, our kids, they've done a pretty good job of getting that done. To me, it's all about the preparation. You got to take all, what this game means for all those reasons you mentioned. You start that. It starts yesterday in the preparation. And I think it starts with going back out. We got to have the best Tuesday we've had all year because of the reasons you said. And again, our guys have done that all year long. They've prepared well all year. But I think when you're playing on the anniversary of the crash, when you put that 75 on your helmet and all the things that go into this game with the seniors being their last day. You don't just go out on Saturday and say, hey, we're going to play really hard for this because this is happening. That starts during the week because that's what preparation's all about. So when you take that field today, they should be taking that field with a little extra edge and a little bit excited about getting ready to go play, and the same thing for the rest of the week. So that started on Sunday and has to continue through Saturday, and then when the foot hits the ball at 3:30, I guess it is, on Saturday, that this team's ready to go.
Will that change any of the routine on Saturday at the Memorial? Do you go and then the players do their normal thing? Is that how it'll work?
Yeah, we're going to try to do that. I'd like to have the whole. We'll have about 40 players that'll be there. Okay, and I've got a deal. I get with the team Saturday morning. I got some things I got to do there, but then I will be at the Memorial. I will be, and I have the opportunity to speak there. And then I'll go back and meet the players and get them ready to come over and play. But we'll have a lot of our team will be there. And they won't change the routine at the hotel, but change my routine a little bit.
How important has it been for the the senior players, especially in the year, and every year you've got new players, but it seems like the senior players that we talked to on Monday, talked about sharing the tradition and the message of the anniversary with those guys, and those are guys that have been there and played on the anniversary date in 2013.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, we were at Tulsa, weren't we? I think it was. And that was the first time we actually put the 75 on the helmet. And I tell you what's great. What's fun for me is, and I know Keith and a lot of you guys have all been here and seen this team evolve over the last 6 years, but they've really embraced the tradition and the history of the school. And Keith's been a big part of that because he's, every year we go, we take that run up to the cemetery, and Keith has Red Dawson and Keith and Morehouse and a lot of people have actually shared that experience with our kids. And what's fun for me is the way they've embraced it. They know how important it is, and you talk to them, they'll tell you how important it is to our fan base, our community, and what this football means to Marshall and the community and all that. And because of what happened, and nobody else has our story, and those kids understand that. So it's been great for me as a head football coach to see how our kids have embraced the tradition of Marshall University and have carried that on. And I'm proud of the way they've represented themselves towards this school and what it really means.
When did you start that run?
Doug, I think maybe 4 years ago, Keith.
I think 4.
This is my second or third year, and we've done it every year since. But I know we've done it for at least 4 years. And there's some other things that we've done. I'd mentioned before, we'll have our kids as freshmen come in, and part of our two-a-day experience is for them to sit in that room and watch that movie together. A lot of them have not seen it, some of them have, but it gives them the opportunity to kind of experience, what it's all about. And we try to work hard to make sure they understand it.
How old were you, about 14, 15 when that occurred? I mean, everybody kind of remembers where they were?
Yeah, I was in Hurricane at that time, and that was about how old I was, I think. I forgot. I hadn't had any birthdays for a long time. But it was. And I remember. I mean, yeah, you remember, and that's something nobody ever forgets.
Players talked a lot about whenever you guys had unveiled the black jerseys that Mike had a message for them about why they were doing it. Did you have anything in addition to what Mike Hamrick said?
Well, the only thing I had with them, number one, is Mike Hamrick was part of the Young Thunder and Herd that got it all back, and had the opportunity to introduce Mike. And what Mike, and Mike's one of the biggest reasons that because he's embraced it. Our entire athletic program has embraced what's happening, and Keith and some of you guys have been, Woody and guys have been around a lot longer than I have. I think since Mike's taken over, and really, I don't know that, but people from the fountain ceremonies to the one now they're having in the spring, and Mike's been a big part of making sure that everybody understands the importance of it, and Mike made a deal with the players. And one thing I know about Mike, I mean, he doesn't get at times, whatever he says he's going to do, he does. And he told those kids, they've been on him for 6 years or 5 years, whatever it's been, about those black jerseys. So he finally told them if they win a championship, he'll give them a black jersey. Well, they won it, and guess what? They got it. So and the players are the ones that wanted to wear it on this particular date. So that was between Mike and the players, and I was kind of out of that part of it. But Mike's done a great job of embracing and carrying on the tradition and what it really means.
You guys haven't lost a lot lately in the last 4 years. The kids always seem to respond well after a tough game, don't they?
But you have to. I mean, you have to. I think that's part of the leadership and what's happened. And this time last year, not this time exactly, but close to this time, similar thing happened, and you had to respond and go win a championship. I mean, that's what you had to do. And you had to put that one behind us, and it happened in a very similar fashion, unfortunately. So you had to put that behind them and go on and find a way to win that championship. And that this one is not the championship game, of course, but it's very similar to what happened. In order to try to get to that point, you better put that behind you and move on and find a way to get this one if you have any dreams or goals or whatever to try to get to that point. So our kids have been there before, and they've done it, and they understand what it takes, and hopefully the leadership on this team, which I think those 18 seniors are tremendous kids, that they'll make sure that and I told, we met this morning, I walked into every meeting room, and I said, you know what, it's all great, and everything's so important about what this weekend's all about, but these 18 seniors deserve to go out the right way. And it's important that the young kids on this football team don't let anything other than that happen. The young players can't let those older guys down because they've done too much for us. And so it's important that they young kids understand it. The older kids do, and I'm sure those older guys will make sure they remind them as the weeks go on.
Talked to the guys on Monday, and a lot of them said they were excited to get to Tuesday's practice. And sort of hit me a little high because you all been at it for, I think this is 11 straight weeks. And to hear guys after a tough loss in which they were really disappointed say that they were excited to get back to practice, that sort of define the demeanor of the team?
Well, I think it does. I mean, that's what, that's what good team, that's what great teams do. I mean, because they like football. They like football, and losing kills them. I mean, they just hate it, and that's a good thing. I mean, what you saw in that locker room after the game, and what I saw, that's a really good thing. I see a bunch of guys with smiles on their faces on the plane on the way back. I'm pissed off because they don't care. These kids care, and it's important to them that they get back and get to work. 'Cause the only way you're going to get that feeling out of your stomach is to go back to work and find a way for that not to ever happen again. And that's kind of the attitude they take, and it's a good attitude. And if it was any other way, I'd be really disappointed as a head coach.
Blow your mind a little bit, Doc, though, when you see groups of seniors, because it's like they were here 4 years, 5 years ago, and here they suddenly are. They're going to run up and reach you at midfield. My
first year, it took about 30 seconds to go through senior day. I think we had, 2 or 3 of them out there, I think, and it didn't take long. Had 4 parents and 4 kids, I think. So, but that's what, when you have 18, I think every year for the last 3 years we've had 18 plus or whatever it's been. But when you get to the point in your program, that's what it should be. And when you get to the point where you have 18 seniors that not only are they seniors, but they're really good players, you got a chance to have a pretty good football team. So if we can continue to do that right there, and if I can come up here next year and read off 18 or 19 really good players like those guys, then chances are we're in pretty good shape right now. So that's what needs to happen, and I think it will.
And how difficult is it, taking winning and losing out of the equation, to get through 4 or 5 years of major college football? A lot of work.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Especially in our, we ask a lot of these kids, and it's not easy. That's why we talk all the time about there's nowhere to hide in this program. And if you're not tough and you don't like football, and your chances are you're not going, your name's not going to get called 4 years down the road because you don't make it, you don't survive it, and that's kind of what we do. And those kids that do survive, those who stay are champions. Those who stay will be champions. That's kind of the way it is. And those kids have put forward. A lot of those kids have been to 4 bowls. And been to 4 bowls, and and this will be their 4th, and so they've accomplished an awful lot. They've won a championship. Like I say, they changed the culture of this program. So they've proud of everything they've done. But that's what you need to get to at that point where you're sitting there reading off names like this every year, and we've done that for the last 3 years. And when you can do that, then you got a chance to be pretty good.
McKelvey, it's not every day you get a second chance to be a senior, and after his injury, he was given that second chance. How much is he taking off with this year?
Well, the leadership he's provided, and he's been a captain now, I think, 6 or 8 times, and he's just done a tremendous job, and he's a tremendous player, and just proud. You really you're proud of kids, and you're so happy when kids overcome so much adversity like he has, that great things happen for him, because it has, and he's just a great kid that is going to walk out here with 3 degrees and a really good football player. He's going to have a chance to play on Sundays at some point, and just happy and proud of him.
Good.
Get to him.
Go ahead.
Magoo? He's grown up a lot.
Well, he has. He's played down there. And again, Ron's done a great job with that team. And, he's been playing. This is our 3rd year we played against him. He's played there as a freshman, and you just watch the progress he's made. And he's completing well over 60% of his passes. I think his touchdown to interception ratio is tremendous. And he does a good job of running the offense. And they got good players. I mean, Richard Leonard he was picked to be a preseason, I think, special team player of the year or defensive player of the year, whatever he was. And, he's a great player that changes games just with the kick return and the punt return part of it. And he's as good a corner as there is in this league, if not the best. And, that Wakefield, that defensive end, is a tremendous player. He's got like 14 TFLs and was conference player of the week last week. I think he had 4 sacks or something there this past week. So don't think they don't have great players. They do. They got players that can play for anybody, and 53, that linebacker's all over the place. So they got really good players, and there's a reason that they beat Central Florida that first game. They went on the road and had Indiana beat, and I lost it there at the end. And so they can play with anybody, and like I say, it's going to be a dogfight for us.
It is kind of an up and down nature of that team, but the athleticism, you just see that from year to year. I mean, how fast are they team speed-wise compared to your team?
Yeah, they are. I mean, they're as fast as anybody in the league. It's because of where they are. And I said many times, if you're located where they are and where FAU is, and all those schools, I mean, they can get in their car and recruit. They don't have to get on a flight or a plane. Their recruiting budget doesn't have to be a whole hell of a lot because they can drive everywhere they want to go to get players, and they've got good players. A lot of those guys are kids that Alex and Mario and all those guys had recruited while they were there, and Alex knows they're good players. Ask him. So, like I say, they're a talented bunch that because of where they're located and what they can recruit to. I think there's 60,000 students in that school down there. I think that's what they've got. Something that's crazy, but they got an advantage as far as recruiting goes.
Young veteran in between.
In between, the Smith kid is a third-year player. The quarterback's a third-year player. Wakefield's a senior, but they got some older kids. They got some young. They got a good mix of players. They got a safety. It's a freshman playing for them. It's a tremendous player. The running back was a freshman a year ago. He's back. He's a good player. So, got an offensive line that's a mix of young kids and older kids that they've developed and done a great job with. So, they got a good mixture. And again, Ron, you can't give Ron's a tremendous coach and does a great job of, number one, getting them ready to play and preparing them, but two, getting good players.
Face the tight end is tough as what Smith brings to the table and what he offers for that FIU team.
He's an NFL player. I mean, he's an NFL player, and he's been one of the top, if not the top tight end in our conference the last 2 or 3 years. And even as a freshman, he was on a lot of lists. So he's as good-looking kid as you'll see. He was at the media day when he was down there, and he looks like an NFL guy. Well, he looks different. You can tell those guys that are just look different. And he's one of those guys that when he walks in the room, you say, "Wow," because number one, he's a really good-looking kid that's very athletic and he can play.
Something run a 2 tight end set. What does that pose for your defense?
Well, I mean, it's a lot of preparation because not only do they run the 2 tights and 2 tight end set, but they'll take it because he's such a tremendous athlete. They're not going to be attached. They're going to be out in space. So it's going to be they'll have 2 tight ends in there at times, but they'll be in spread formations, which creates some problems for you. And he's a good enough athlete that when he gets out in a flex position, he's no different. Remember we used to do with Gator Hoskins and even some of our tight ends right now. You used to put Gator out there, even though he was a tight end, and that was a little bit of a mismatch for a linebacker or somebody trying to walk out and play in space. And they'll do some of the same things with Smith that creates a lot of problems for you defensively.
And Leonard, speed, coverage, ability. What's his best attribute among many attributes?
All the above. He's like Juju. I mean, he's going to play on Sundays. I mean, he's got tremendous speed. He's a tremendous athlete. He's got great ball skills. And he just, like I say, he can. I've never seen a defensive player, and he did the same thing a year ago that changed games like he does with his kick return ability, his interceptions, he's just a really, really good player.
Samley and Jarquez, are they going to be playing Saturday or gone for the year?
No. They're not. Either one of them are done. I think both of them got a shot, but we'll see this week. I think probably at least one of them will practice today and be fine. The other one we'll see during the week. I shouldn't have told you that because I'm not talking about injuries, right? I don't know, Smock. All right, let's go to work.